to my channel. This is Crafty Slay by May. I'm May, and I love all things crafting. If you are returning, that means that you're probably one of my 4 subscribers, and I love you. Thank you for returning. But if you are just happening to stop by, or happened to stop by, I love you too. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy this video. Today we are going to be making a charcuterie board, or charcuterie board. Y'all know the board with the meats and the cheeses. That's the board, okay? um, this is my number 2 video. I'm super excited. Maybe when I get to like number 5, I'll stop saying what number video it is. But I am in sunny California right now. It is supposed to be winter, of course, as you guys know. It's like almost 90 degrees. Enjoying me some cookies and cream while I watch the video. So go grab you a snack too. And I hope you guys enjoy it. If you've done this before, please share any tips and tricks you may have for me. I was super excited to do this. I accepted the challenge when someone asked me to make this for them. I love the way it came out. I had a few bumps and bruises along the way, but in the end, it turned out to be a beautiful product to me. And if you haven't done this and have been wanting to do this, hopefully this will inspire you, especially if you're nervous about the whole wood burning and things like that, because I did have to take an alternative route. You'll see that in the video. So hopefully, you know, it'll inspire you to just jump on board, you know, and do it as well. So I won't hold you guys up anymore. Let's just jump on over into the video. So don't forget, go get your snack, y'all. I know some of y'all are probably really cold, so go get a hot cocoa. Cocoa's good. All right. Hope to see you guys in the next video. Peace and love. Lovies. Mwah.
Alright lovies, so to get started on today's project, we're going to need the following items. We're going to start with a natural wood based cutting board that I purchased from Michael's. Also, it is about 14 by 9 inches as well as 1 inch thick. We will need a pair of rubber or latex gloves, as well as we're going to start with some Varathane stained by Rustoleum in dark walnut. We will also be using the Waverly antiquing wax, as well as the Waverly clear wax. Both the waxes and wood stain are food safe. We will also be using the Clark's Oil and Wax applicator sponge, but you can use a microfiber cloth. We will also have the wood burning tool by Walnut Hollow. We will also need, or I will need, a test piece of wood, which I got this round from Michael's or Hobby Lobby, I'm not sure, but we will need a glove for protection from the wood burner, a few paper towels, and a mason jar of water, which I have tucked kindly under the camera. But we will also use the self-adhesive Velcro furniture protectors, and this is just to prevent any scuffing or scratches to any surfaces you may apply your project to. So we will also need the Mevell cutting board conditioner and Mevell cutting board oil, and both are natural ingredients which have beeswax and mineral oil, and is also 100% food safe. And it is imperative that you have this with any wood surface that you are planning to apply food to. Also, to protect my surfaces, I'll be using 2 of the plastic table mats from Dollar Tree, along with some painter's tape to create my grid. I am just going to start in with rubbing down the board with a little bit of rubbing alcohol, just to remove any debris or dust that may have gotten on the board. at this point, I'm just laying it out. I have no rhyme or reason or how I'm gonna for doing it this way. I'm just lining up the painter's tape with various natural lines on the cutting board. My client did provide me with a picture of what she was wanting, and I did use that picture for inspiration and guiding me through this piece of it. However, I still wanted to make this piece my own. I didn't want to do an exact duplication of the piece she provided with me. So like I said, I'm just randomly going in, and I just start off with putting, pieces here and there just to get a feel for it. So I did do some waxing off camera, but I did start here with the antiquing wax. And up there in the right corner is the picture that I'm using for reference. There in the left corner, I went in with the antiquing wax. I added a great deal of water to it to get it to that nice caramel brown. And I have to tell you guys, I was using the antique wax here, but I could not get this board to absorb that wax like it normally does on other projects. But I thought maybe I was wiping or adding too much too frequently and not giving it enough time to dry. Because even though it is water-based, it does require a few minutes to dry before you apply, additional coats. But it would not get any darker than what you see on the handle there. But I just kept going and, just playing around with it. I wasn't going to give up. So I do go around, I add, I just continue to add the antique wax. And then finally, I decided to go in with the Varathane. And you'll see in the lower left corner there, it does go on quite nice. It does give it that nice dark walnut look. But I also decided to take some of that Varathane stain and add it to the antiquing wax patches that I had on here. And that's where that rich, dark espresso color just popped right on out, you guys. And it was looking gorgeous. So once I did that, I did go in and start removing the tape just to see if it was going to, how it would look, basically. And so you'll see that coming up right now. And after I did that, the lines were nice and crisp, but I still wanted to tie it together. So what I did was I took those paper towels that were already saturated with the wax and stain, added some water to those, and just started rubbing it all over the board because I was just trying to blend it all together. And as you can see, it started picking up that wood grain. And how gorgeous is this already, you guys? Like, my heart was on full as I was doing this. I just couldn't believe how it was coming together. And so again, I spent a little time here just really trying to get that, whole flow going. I went on the outside because I did feel like the darker outside would really close in the center and just really make it stand out even more. But absolutely gorgeous. So coming up here is my first fail. Not really, just trial and error, learning as I go. I did jump in because I was so excited, you guys, and applied the cutting board oil before actually creating the design. Now, this probably would have worked had I used the wood burning tool, but as I continued on with this project, I did become very nervous that I may mess up the board with the wood burning tool because I never used it before. But I had to find an alternative route. But even at this point, with even the little UFO light right in the middle, you guys, I still felt like this board was gorgeous. I was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe how beautiful it looks already. So because of this, I did have to switch up my technique from wood burning to wood scorching, and I will show you the Scorch Marker Pro that I use to accomplish the final look as we go forward. So this next step is where my Cricut Joy comes into place. But before I get started, I want to just tell you guys about that purple ring there. It's actually a nail polish holder from Dollar Tree. And it is a handy little tool to have on the side when you're weeding your vinyl. And a little funny, here it was so unusual for me because if you are a Cricut user, we usually leave the lettering and remove the outer side, but because I was creating my stencil, I was removing the letters and leaving the outside. So a few times I did have to pause and, just regroup and make sure I was pulling up the right pieces. The sign says "So Gouda together." I thought that was a really cute sign or little message that I found in Cricut Design Space. And the client really loved that as well. So here I'm just, like I said, going in, trying to make sure I pull up the correct pieces. And I believe it's right about here where I'm like, wait, is that right? Wait, what am I doing? That's literally what I'm saying here. But so I just moved forward with that. And also what I found at Dollar Tree was this nifty little rolling, it's a face roller, and you'll see it here in a few seconds that I think you use it for your face, I believe, to help circulation or something like that, or maybe it's to help smooth out your skin. I'm not really sure, but it really makes for a good pressure applier to your vinyl, and also when you're using your transfer tape to attach your vinyl to your transfer tape. And also when I did that, I did feel quite a few little bubbles in there. And so what I went in and did was use my Cricut weeding tool, which you'll see coming up here in a second, to put a few little bubbles in there just to help press out some of that air that got trapped in there. So overall, at this point, I was like super excited, but you are about to see fail number 2. So, here I was trying to pull up the vinyl, but it just was being really stubborn. But I think what may have happened here, you guys, is that with me touching all the oils and waxing things, I do think some of it may have gotten on my vinyl. And also because I do wash my hands a lot throughout the day, I put on lotion. So it's very likely that the vinyl came in contact with some of the oils from my skin. But eventually it did transfer over very nicely, and I was able to keep it in line with the grid, you guys, which is not always a success for me. But here I'm laying it on the board. This is actually my fail number 2 that I was talking about. But because that is, as I mentioned, I applied the oil too soon. And so, of course, adhesive with oil don't mix. So I end up having to let this sit overnight. And you see me using that little roller pin or tool or whatever it's called, but it's a nifty little thing. And so it did eventually stick to the board. It wasn't super tacky, but it did stick. So because I have to choose a different route, I had to pull out my mouse sander, which is a phenomenal tool, you guys. It's the perfect size to use on little projects like this. I also needed to pull out the heavy duty heat gun, and it's about 1800 watts. And so you definitely need this when you're doing wood scorching. You can't use the normal crafting heating tool. So here it is, the Scorcher Pro. And it's a phenomenal little tool. It is expensive, but it is it is a great investment to have for projects like this. And so I just go in with the test piece first, And all you do with the Scorcher Pro is you apply it to your design. So you can just freehand it if you want, or you can fill in your stencil. It does not require a lot of fluid or liquid. You take the heating gun, you apply it to where you put the Scorcher Pro, and it will only burn the section where that fluid has been touched or placed. And so I did this once. I just did some little squigglies here just to make sure I had a feel for it and it was going to work. So I only did it one run with it. I felt confident that I could control it. And so I start on the actual cutting board or charcuterie board at this point, and you just go in like you're coloring in a coloring book. And so I'm just going into the spaces that's open, and I remove the stencil. I go in with the heating gun, but again, it didn't work because I applied the oil, and I really thought maybe using the heating gun would dry it out, enough for it to come to the surface. But the fluid from the Scorcher Pro did not sink into the wood. You do see some spots here and there where you can see it, heating up and bringing the words to life. But overall, I just could not get it to happen because I was already at this point like 15-20 minutes in, and I just knew it wasn't going to work, and I had to take that different approach. So that's where the mouse sander comes in. As you see, I'm really trying to get it to take it, but it just wouldn't do it. And I even went back, I rubbed it down with more alcohol to see if that would absorb some of the oil, but it was just too saturated for the fluid from the Scorcher Pro to seep through. So I went ahead and dried out the wood as best I could. You can see it there a little bit where some of the wood is drying out, but still wasn't enough. So the Black & Decker the sander, Black & Decker hand sander, I just took to it. And let me tell you guys something. This thing is small, but honey, it is mighty. And it's perfect for little projects like this. I was a little bummed because I didn't want to really touch that darker piece. Like, that was my focal point. That was the part that was going to make it pop. But it was inevitable. I had to, because I needed to get in certain spaces. And the cool thing about this little sander is that it does have a vacuum built into it, as well as a dust collector attached to it, which is awesome because you don't get dust all over the place. However, you still need your protective eyewear as well as a mask, because you don't want that getting in your eyes, and you definitely don't want to ingest or inhale those particles. So here I used some different vinyl, and at the bottom I didn't show it, but I did a test run with her name in the lower left corner there. It took. I was so happy because at that point I knew sanding it down was the best way to go. So here I'm just weeding it all out, and even you can already see the fluid from the marker there. But look at this, you guys. It literally took seconds, and it just started coming to life. I felt like I was watching Casper the Ghost come alive, but this was so awesome to me. I just got so excited because I could not find another one of these boards anywhere. They were sold out online in the stores. So when this started coming together, I was just like, thank you, Lord. I was so happy. And just look already, this was a mistake that turned out to make a beautiful piece. And just already, you guys, look at it. I was so happy. And by this point, I really had a feel for the heating gun and applying it to the treated surface. And, I was able to go in with my hand sander and just lighten up some spaces. And it just created this really cool farmhouse look. So here you're going to see a lot of back and forth. Where I'm going in, adding a little bit more wax, because even though I liked it right after sanding, I still felt like it had too many light spots. It still felt a little disjointed to me. So that's literally what I'm doing here. I'm going in with the heating gun, drying it up, because there were still some places that had a lot of oil on them, but like I said, I just kept going back. I dried it. I would apply the antiquing wax, and I chose that ultimately. And I chose not to go back in with the Varathane just because I felt like that would be better. So of course I went back in, I polished it up, and I was so happy. That's my spirit finger happy dance because I was just, oh my gosh, you guys, I was so happy, so happy, so happy. And I did this shot in 2 different lights, just so you can see both, but it really just came together gorgeous. And I hope you guys like it. Let me know what you think. That's, this is it. It's gorgeous. And, what would you have done different? What tips or tricks do you have for me? And if you're here still, thank you for sticking around. I hope you come back and visit and see the rest of my crafting journey. So until the next video, lovies, be safe, be kind, and see you soon.